birds, and then I can point in the book which one it is, and then nothing popped up. You can rack onto the impala. Or not. No. Okay, I'm ready in the book when you're ready. Language. Sorry for my lack of any form of communications for the last few minutes. There was obviously some audio issues, but thankfully Alex, one of our tech wizards, managed to fix the problem, I think potentially from Moscow. I think he's already back in Moscow. He only left a few days ago. But a huge apologies for that. Welcome back, and for those of you who are joining for the first time, you must realize that this is a live safari, so occasionally we do have some technical difficulties, but not too often, and apologies for that. You may have noticed we've just left the Pride of Lion. They seem quite comfortable there, I think it's fair to say, and we've just decided to do one quick loop around. There's a beautiful spot where we can show you a vista of the area that we get to explore, and as you can see, it's a beautiful afternoon. We stopped to try and show you the steenbok, a small antelope, which was lying very close to the road. It has stopped. It's not going to be easy. Oh, you may have just got a glimpse of its white bottom running off into the bush there. Really pretty antelope, but they are skittish and often scuttle off through the undergrowth before we can show you. So Mark is also out this afternoon, which is great, and him and Brian are off searching for elephants, and VM, who's on camera with me this afternoon, we are planning to head just in this general area to fish around a little bit, but we want to spend the majority of the afternoon with the lion. Even though they are asleep, they still could catch something, because animals move around during the day, and it's often that animals stumble upon lion unsuspectingly, so the lions occasionally get an easy meal, and that's what I'm hoping for this afternoon. I'm just going to stop here and let VM show you a little bit of the view, and it'll give you an idea of the place we're in and the weather we're experiencing. It's probably around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. There's a cool breeze blowing today. I think that's somewhere around 75 or so degrees Fahrenheit. So not very hot today. The last 2 days have been warm, but this is a beautiful, cool winter's afternoon. We're not quite in the peak of the winter yet, but it is the winter season. And if we could just rewind the clocks a few months to 2 or 3 months ago, you would think we were in a different place. It's become very dry over the last few months, whereas in summer, over November, December and January, we get a lot of rainfall and it becomes lush and green. But the winters can be quite dry and harsh, especially this one. We didn't get nearly as much rain as we usually get, so it's going to be a tough year for the plants and therefore the animals that eat the plants. So, if any of you would like to send us through some questions that we'll answer right away, basically, please try and do so. It's very easy with hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send an email through to questions@WildEarthTV. Speaking of sending questions through and us answering your questions, I've got a huge apology to make to Sharon from Austria. Now, sometimes we get caught out by you, the viewers, with the questions you ask us, and I was caught out today and must apologize for the words that I have told all of you, and that's relating to a small animal called horned borer moth. Now, I'm not going to continue too much about it, but when we find some horns, then I'll certainly talk about it. But in the meantime, just a quick when the moment is right, when we find an animal that does get parasitized by these horned borer moths, and let you know all about it, and also let you know what Sharon has taught me about it that I didn't know. So that is the beauty of this interactive safari, especially considering that we're interacting with so many people, and we can all share facts and knowledge and correct one another when we are wrong. And I thank Sharon for not only correcting me but sending through some information on the matter. So, look what we bumped into. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
How are you doing? Good.
Of all the roads?
I know. Well, we've obviously got the same plan in mind.
I think so.
Just attacked from opposite angles.
Okay, so when you get down there, are you going east or west?
I think I'm going to go east.
Okay, good, because I want to go west.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, the plan is made then.
It is indeed. So why don't you all come over onto this one?
Good idea. I think Mark's actually heading the right way. So jump onto Mark's vehicle and we will see you all later. Mark, have fun.
Bye.
Cheers, Brian.
Bye, Viv. Are you all comfortable? Hi, everyone. Wonderful Sunday afternoon here at Djuma Game Reserve. Welcome to the Jigger. VM. I don't think we're going to go all the way that you've just come from. We're going to, where you came from the right, down Rebecca's Road, we're going to go off to the left now, and that's going to swing us west. I want to head over onto Arathusa and see what's over there. Coming back, I'm eager to cover as much ground, see what has been going on in the last 2 weeks. I get some idea of that from the tracks that I see, but the tracks don't stretch back as far as 2 weeks. The tracks mostly stretch back only a few days, especially with the wind that we had today. There's a lot of dry grasses and a lot of leaves that get blown across the roads, and it tends to wear the tracks down a lot quicker than if it was sort of humid summer months when the sand tends to stay solid for a while. And Joanne. Hi, Barbara. Joanne. Zoomies, and no doubt with the Arathusa camera saying there are lots of ellies that way. Funny enough, I had a feeling, and that's why I wanted to go west. And that is one of the reasons why I am here at the moment. We're heading on to Impala Plains. We're going to cross over Triple M. I want to make my way towards Arathusa. Hopefully we'll get a chance to find some of them. And well, thanks for the email. Thanks for letting us know, Bob. And oh wow, Scott's got a bird that I've been trying to get a visual of, and I know that Marco in New Jersey wanted to look at it. It's called the black-collared barbet, and I think you'll all agree with me when you see it, because you're going over to Scott now. It's the wrong name, but enjoy, and I'll see you. I'm going to head over to Arathusa. We'll see you in a little while.
Welcome back, everyone, and sorry to rush you back to this vehicle, but this is such a pretty bird, and I don't think I've ever been able to show any of you this. It's got that bright, bright red face. Well, I'm going to leave this one for you to identify. It's going to be a good one because I'm not sure if many of you know about this. But I heard Mark identified it already for you. So this is the black-collared barbet. And it could easily be called the red-faced barbet with that bright red face. And I'm not sure what it's feeding on at the base of this tree. They usually feed on berries, but it's flown down twice now and had a quick bite to eat. Now I'm going to get a picture for you in the book because it is quite obscured and obstructed by branches, and I fear that if we start the vehicle it may... Where's it gone? Is it still there, Viam?
Still there.
Okay, hopping around. Let me see if we can creep forward a bit. Oh, no. Off it went. But I've got it out in the book here. And you can see occasionally they've got a yellow face, but that's very rare, and I've never seen one with a yellow face. You typically only see them with a red face. And I still learn new things every day because I've seen these birds mainly only eating fruits. I assumed they were only fruit eaters, but in the book I see they are on insects. So that solves that problem. But it does say they are mainly frugivorous and partial to figs. Well, isn't that interesting? I'm also quite partial to figs myself. Figs and cheese, always a good combo. So, also the interesting thing to note about being on safari and driving around is what's just happened right now. Mark's just driven down this road. Mark loves birds and has a very keen eye for the smaller things, but it's just a timing. Just as we drove past, so even though we've driven the same road just seconds apart, there's always going to be changing scenery and different situations and scenarios and animals that you can see. And that's really what I love about being out on safari, is the unknown, and the possibilities of seeing incredible things are endless. And even the little things like that, black-collared barbets in perfect afternoon sunlight, was already a highlight for me this afternoon. Now, this road we're about to drive down, because it's quite open, safety of being in an open area, knowing that predators don't have too much cover with which to ambush their prey. And there have been one or two male impalas that have been rutting in this area, and I'm hoping that we get to show you some rutting action. Well, I speak for myself, haven't been too lucky in terms of impala rutting and sightings we can share with you, so that I'm hoping is going to change this afternoon. It really is quite an interesting show to see the men running around almost like crazed beasts, making the most bizarre gurgling noise, holding their heads up high, and a show of the whole thing. And that's what it is a show to outcompete other males and win the respect of the ladies. The risk they take, though, with all this showmanship is that they forget about the dangers that can often be lurking around them, and when these male impala are rutting, they make such a loud noise and such a distinctive noise that it often actually calls predators closer towards them. I've seen leopards sleeping in trees before, fast asleep. And then next thing, a male impala starts up his engine nearby during the rutting season. Second notice and headed straight in the direction of that impala. Didn't manage to catch it, but it certainly tried and made the most of the opportunity. And I think that's what may have happened to a lot of our leopards just over the last week. There is this abundance of easier meals than normal with the male impala, so caught up in their fighting, that I think the leopards have managed to catch one or two of these impala and hoist them up a tree somewhere where we don't know, and they've been feeding on them probably for 2 or 3 days. A male impala will keep your average leopard well fed for 3 days in a row. Thereafter, it's not going to be hugely I think that's why we haven't been seeing as much leopard movement as normal. There's good opportunity for them to catch a very decent sized prey for them, an impala. Anything bigger than an impala doesn't really make too much sense for a leopard to catch. They can't hoist kills that are much bigger than that, or they would battle to. And without being able to hoist a kill up into the tree, the leopards will very often lose it or have to share it with hyena. So we should be back with the lions in about 4 to 5 minutes, not even that, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Bird sitting up on this tree here. And let's hope it doesn't fly away. Please don't fly. Very good. This certainly is one of the most spectacular birds that we see out here. It's called a lilac-breasted roller, and it's at this time of the year that we will begin to see them rolling more and more. Now, by rolling I mean it's an aerial display. After ascending in circles up to a high altitude, they fly down like kamikaze pilots, tilting their wings from side to side, creating a rolling effect. Excuse me, I just had a massive sneeze. And it really is beautiful to see. It's a mating display. So impress the for nest sites for them. They nest in cavities of trees. Oh, and there it goes. It may actually make a kill. Has it got something? That's often how they hunt. They will sit on an elevated perch and sit and wait to see something below them where they fly down and hawk them. It looks almost bemused. What's going on? What has it found there? Something very small, perhaps? No. Well, rather than rushing over to the lions, oh, look at this above us. This is awesome. Some vultures soaring above us, and I'm so glad I stopped to look up, because I haven't seen vultures above us like this for quite some time, and they are all heading in one direction, and what that tells me is that they know of a kill in that direction. They can respond to kills from hundreds of kilometers away, as their eyesight is so good. Other vultures would see vultures like this and then all start beelining in that same direction, and that message spreads to vultures far and wide, and they literally can travel hundreds and hundreds of kilometers to carcasses. They are drifting off at a high speed, probably in excess of 50 to 60 miles an hour up there. And wouldn't it be nice to know where they go? Sadly, they can go where we cannot go, and that's the beauty of this national park. It's a huge reserve that we form a part of, and it allows animals free flow. Obviously for the birds, they can go anywhere they like. They're not restricted by fences, but their lifestyle is restricted by fences because they do need these wild dying carcasses or dead carcasses out in human areas. They need these wild places, even though they can fly. Well, like I say, rather than VM and I rushing over to the lions to show you them, I think it might be worth catching up with Mark and seeing what he's up to. But we will continue before we do cross over. Let's see what we can find along the way. The plan is for VM and I now. Like I said, there is a chance that something could stumble into them. Even though they are not actively hunting, they will slip into hunting mode like this, if need be. So that is the plan for the rest of the afternoon, to do a lion stakeout. Another plan for the afternoon, just to remind some of you, is that it's our fireside chat this evening. So for the last half an hour of the broadcast, we will be doing our fireside chats, where Mark and I will show you some short clips of a few of the highlights from the week, and then mainly field your questions and discuss plans for the following week, what's been going on. So that's something to look forward to. And just to be clear, it's not going to be an extra hour after the broadcast like it usually is. It's the last half an hour of this 3-hour broadcast. And the reason for that is some of the staff at the moment are staying at Manyeleti. The team is growing, and there are curfews that have to be met, and we're not allowed to travel after certain times through the Manyeleti Reserve. Anyway, enough of that and the plans. Let's cross over to Mark, and we'll catch up with you later.
Finally made it to Arathusa. We are on Arathusa at the moment. I'm on Zebra Drive that heads close to the dam, and I want to sort of see if we can find any signs of elephant around the dam. It's a little bit early for us to get to the waterhole itself because the guests haven't left the lodge on Game Drive yet, and we can't be in front of the lodge while the guests are having their afternoon refreshments before they go out and drive. I want to just get close enough, I suppose, where maybe if we can find some signs. But there was also, coming on a road that's known as Parallel North, I lost an open area called Knockborn Pan, and I wanted to see if we can follow up on those two. Do the animals ever use the plants and trees for medicine? An interesting question, Fiona, because there is a certain amount of I suppose, and that what goes along with that, of course, is the learning by example. For most of the herbivores growing up very close to their mother, being what we call dependent on their mothers for a long time and mother's milk, they get to see and smell and taste everything that their mother eats. So that is something that is a learned behavior, or something that is learned as opposed to something that is instinctive. And the other side of that, amazing that the vegetation that they're eating has some impact on the taste of the milk, and so that when young are starting to be weaned and they're starting to feed on vegetation, I'm sure they recognize the taste in some of the plants, because it's close to a tinge or a taste in the milk that they were drinking growing up. So if there's this knowledge about what they can eat and what they can't eat, surely it's got to extend to what they can eat for certain things. And we know for certain that animals, the texture of the plant. There are chimpanzees that fold leaves that have a very rough surface, almost like that rough surface of the one side of Velcro. And they will fold the leaves in such a way that it leaves the outer surface, the very rough surface on the outside, and they don't eat the leaf. They actually force it down and then eat a lot of food after it. And what it does is it actually acts as a comb or as a brush as it moves through the digestive system, and it brushes out a lot of internal parasites. When you think of your domestic dog and your domestic cat, but sometimes the first thing they want to do when they get outside is chew on grass, take grass stalks into their mouth. And grass stalks, food that is stuck. So we can also then imagine that if they're using certain textures of plants to help with their digestive system, something that they don't necessarily have to learn, something that is somehow instinctive and hardwired in their brain, then somehow, surely, they must be able to identify certain plants as being beneficial for certain ailments. And I know that elephants eat certain things. Certain bark, certain trees when they need to. And I'm sure if we had to look at giraffe and impala and zebra, maybe not zebra only in grass. Cows. I've seen cows eating leaves. I've seen animals eating things that doesn't normally constitute their diet, or it's not a very large portion of their diet. It's a very, very minute amount of it that they eat. And whether that is to obtain nutrients not found in other leaves, or whether it's for medicinal purposes. Let's take, for example, the silver cluster leaf. Now, the silver cluster leaf there's a wildebeest just up ahead. It's almost got a velvety kind of a leaf. You'll notice on the silver cluster leaf, here's one next to me with the wildebeest right behind it. Or to describe the texture, it's very silky and very soft, and there's a very high tannin content in it, so it automatically tells us it's not a very palatable leaf. It's not something that is used by the browsers, it's not something that is utilized. But every now and then something will chew on a leaf, and it's possible that the high tannin levels can help with some stomach ailment. We can use this. If you've got diarrhea, you can just get some of this tannin. It helps to seal it up a little bit. Not an ideal remedy, it can be done. And drawn out answer to a question. I think we haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg yet in what animals know and what animals can tell us about the uses of plants. Because you've got to remember, they don't have a vet to go to. They can't. Oh, Mr. Wildebeest, we were playing hide and seek behind the termite mountain. Sorry, boy. We just want to say hello. We've got a whole bunch of people in the vehicle that want to say hello. Watch you grazing. Quite a handsome fella. From quarantine, you'd have to look at his stripes, especially those above his shoulder, his brindle markings. They would be as distinct as a zebra's stripes. He's got those 3 behind his left shoulder, 3 parallel stripes. Every day we lose thousands and thousands of square miles of rainforest, and every day species go extinct, and these are to our own existence that we're wiping out, that we're never going to get to know what even the question was, because we are destroying the answers already. Cures for diseases or answers to many, many questions that might still crop up. And it's kind of like zooming in extra close. You know, living in the bush, can't assume that we get close to animals because they're wild animals. We don't ever manage to actually touch them, or unless it's after a lion kill or something. But the living animal, and as relaxed as he is, it's quite remarkable that we can sit here. So anyways, we're going to go back to Scott. I think he's back at the cats, and I'm going to carry on looking for elephants, and I'll see you a little bit later. Thank you, Mr. Wildebeest.
We have employed the key strategy when wanting to see animals in action, and that strategy is to be patient. There's nothing we can do to make the lions get up and start moving, so we just sit patiently and watch them snooze. Last night we played a game guessing as to when do you think the lions will wake up. Now, what made yesterday's game difficult was that there was only half. Well, let's call it an hour and a half until fireside chat. And I'm hoping they're going to become active before then. Now, I'm not going to have a guess today, or maybe I should. I guess that in about 48 minutes time, at around 4:30 our time, midway through the show, these lions will be up and on the move. And just to clarify something that was also a little bit confusing last night, by me saying up and on the move, they must be moving away from this patch of grass that they've flattened out. That is taken. So send your guesses through to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Or send us any questions through that you may be interested to know about, anything to do with this pride or other lion. Their habits are hard to read into, that I can tell you right now. Sometimes they will be moving at this stage of the day, and other times like now, they'll be fast asleep. Yesterday they only became active after the show, after 6 p.m. But the day before, they arrived and surprised us all at Gowrie Dam, or Djuma Dam. What I've said earlier, but I will say again, is you also cannot predict what may stumble upon them. Now, quite often, a lot of predators will be sleeping in the shade, relaxing, and their prey stumbles upon them unknowingly, providing an easy opportunity. Right now, they would have to be very lucky because they're not spread out as they would be in hunting formation. The animal would have to run almost directly into them, which does occasionally happen, especially at this time of the year when we have the male impala rutting. And I've been hearing one rutting a few of the short, sharp nasal snorts. There's my imitation. Oh, sorry, lion. You see the lion got a little bit confused there. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, the impala that is just behind us, they will be hearing now, and even though they're not showing any intent on it right now, I've got a feeling that when they wake up, they might head straight in that direction, because it's been calling for the whole afternoon that we've been here, and they're going to subconsciously be factoring that into the equation. And it's not uncommon for them to use branches from small trees to get comfortable. Especially when they're very full-bellied. They're not very full-bellied, but I do think they may have had a snack last night. I think they may have shared an impala. The male that you can see on the top left of your screen now probably got the most of it. And as loving, as caring as they may appear to be now, when there's food on the table, it's a very different story. They will compete aggressively with one another for the best parts of the carcass with the easiest meat to tear off. So I'm gauging the whole pride's evening on his belly. I could be wrong though, and they could still be full of hippo. But an impala divided by 8 lions of this side is not going to make a huge difference to their stomachs. It'll be minor, but what it will is they've probably moved a maximum of 2 miles in 48 hours, 2 full nights, and that is uncommon for lion. We're not sure why, but we are happy that they've decided to spend this time here on Djuma. That's a good sign. She has got her head tilted at one seriously awkward angle there. I'm surprised she's comfortable like that, but each to their own. You'll notice the grass blowing in the wind, and it is a fairly breezy afternoon. Again, what we can read into this is a few things with regards to how it's going to affect the lions' afternoon. Right now it's keeping them cool, which is good. If they were to start hunting, though, it would mean a few things. Lion should and often do walk into the wind when they can, but it's not always the case, so occasionally when they're hunting the wind may not be in their favour. So that could play a negative role on their hunting. In general, though, the wind do two things. It's going to muffle the audio of their approach as their pads rustle on the grass. It's becoming very dry at this time of the year. And also the motion of the trees blowing in the wind and the grass blowing in the wind will help dissolve their movements into one blur, making it full moon at the moment, or even close to full moon. So it's quite dark nights, and the darker for the lion, the better, as their eyes are specifically adapted and suited for nocturnal vision, whereas their prey don't have the same luxury. Well, we've just got a question through from Sarah in New York, and she's just asked a question relating to the wind and how it will affect the lion. So, in Sharon's specific question, though, she would like to know what the likelihood would be of an animal. There's a chance, Sharon, there certainly is. I mean, it's not huge, but there's nothing stopping one of these rutting male impala running straight into them, and it does happen. It certainly does happen. The wind is kind of in the so I don't think he's got any clue that the lion are lying right here. Okay, well, we've just got some feedback regarding your thoughts on when the lions are going to get active, and Dance anyway believes, I think, that they're only going to get active next week, Tuesday. So I hope you're wrong, Dance anyway. It's a very, very interesting bet that you've made, and the odds of you winning are extremely low, sadly, although at the moment you could be right, who knows. Anyway, that's funny, Dance. Anyway, the majority of the viewers have said that they're going to get active between 5:10 and 5:30, and I would be happy with that. It would be great if that happened. And just to let you know in advance, if there is going to be any great action with the lion and potential hunting, we may have to postpone the fireside chat. We would never want to sacrifice sharing exciting viewing with you, because we can chat around a campfire. To that stage, we'll make a last minute call, and hopefully it'll be the right decision. But we're still a long way from that, and the lion needs to wake up first. John would also like to know how far away are these lions from to the western side? We are between the quarantine clearings and the current hyena den sites at the moment. And I can't remember who it was this morning, but we did check the old hyena den sites after drive this morning to see if there was any signs of activity, and there didn't appear to be any fresh tracks around there, so I think they are currently still using the one that they've just moved to, their old new den sites. And we may pop in there a bit later, but can often be misleading with documentaries is that they take years to film, and what take our cameramen hours and hours of patience to film gets condensed into short videos. Now, we don't have that luxury. What you're seeing is live, but we still are in a scenario where we would like to show you exciting stuff, so we do need to kind of hang around with these things waiting for anything to happen. I do think, though, it might be an option. I don't know. I don't know whether it's an option to go to the hyena den quickly, see if it's active, and then rush back here, or if we should stay here. So I'm going to leave that decision up to you, and let me know what you think. The options are to go to the hyena den sites. It will only take us 5 minutes to get there, and cross that bridge when we get there. The plan, though, is ideally to stay with the lions because we don't get to see them as often as we would like to, and also because we need to try and invest some time with them and be patient in order to see some action later. Oh, this is looking good. This is what we were waiting for. And two impala just came running past, probably 50 or 60 meters away. And that's what caught the attention of this one lioness. You can probably hear that funny gurgling, burping noise, and that is the male impala. There's two of them chasing one another around, and through this fairly thick vegetation we could get lucky. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to try and move the vehicle away from the lion just a little bit, so that we don't get in the way. Oh no, I don't think we have anything to worry about anymore. Oh, lions, lions, lions. Anyway, it's good that this happened. It's and maybe got them thinking about dinner. Well, isn't that just too cute? It's incredible how caring these animals can be for Pride members, and so unique for cats. They're the only cats in the world, really, that have realized the benefits of living communally I think this lioness may just be getting up to stretch and change positions. Possibly have a quick toilet break. Well, who knows, maybe they're going to get up and active. No, just a repositioning. So, while these lions rearrange their lazy afternoon positions, why don't we cut across to Mark, see what's going on with him. And it sounds like the majority of you would like us to shoot off to the hyena den site to see what's happening, so we'll do that and keep you posted. Enjoy what Mark has in store for you.
The elephants were here. I actually noticed their tracks as we were coming towards the dam. Fortunately, I think all the game drive vehicles have gone out. It looks pretty quiet. I see a lot of the staff doing the behind-the-scenes stuff that the guests don't get to see. Egyptian geese, I can see some hippo. I don't want to dally too long. I don't want to stick around for too long. I want to get back onto the trail of these elephants because it is quite fresh tracks. And let's head north after them. There's a couple of options as far as roads are concerned. It's going to be a bit of a guessing game. And I'm going to take the low road. I'm not sure if who's on camera this afternoon here at Arathusa, but I'm guessing, judging by the track that I've seen, that these elephants have now moved off in the direction that I'm moving. If we can maybe get some confirmation from any of our viewers or zoomies. This is our Sunday sunset safari this afternoon. I want to remind you also we're going to have a fireside chat. But we're going to be sticking to the format we've been using the last couple of weeks, Hayden and Peter, in that we're going to be starting our fireside chat at around 5:30 and going on till about 6 o'clock instead of Bertie thicket every now and then. I wonder if he knows something I don't. Where are you, squirrel? I don't see the branches shaking. It must have gone in. That is a... not sure what that tree is under it and working. So, fireside chat, 5:30 to 6 p.m. We have to get staying up at Manyaleti. We have a curfew to get into Manyaleti Game Reserve. Because it is a public game reserve, they have very strict times that public are allowed to be out on the roads. Now, this is the low road. There's another road running parallel, a little bit higher. I'm hoping that these ellies are somewhere in between. It looks like they went down that way. They're somewhere over this rainbow. The road. They would be moving. When they crossed the road, they were walking slowly. Their footprints are very distinct. Elephants are moving fast. Their feet tend to scuff the ground a lot more. So they were casually walking off in the road. This is a very distinct hippo path. Doesn't seem to have any. So it's not all about tracks. There are many other things that we need to look at. One of the things actually is just switching the engine off and listening, because we're bound to hear a branch. And here, very, very fresh buffalo thorn branches that have just been broken in the last, I'd say the last half hour or so. One of the key things to tell is I can feel that there's a little bit of moisture at the break where this has been bitten off by an elephant. Must have put his mouth over this and bitten and chewed the branches, but it has dried. It is a bit of a wind this afternoon, so it is going to dry fairly quickly. The leaves, you can see, are still quite green. They haven't even started drying out yet, so this is very, very fresh. And this one too. Sort of. Let me have a look. I just want to see. We've got a junction. One elephant, not the herd whose tracks are still a little bit west of us. One elephant. I'm going to keep in mind there was one elephant that must have fed on this buffalo thorn, and he's gone around down that road past the pump house, maybe up towards the airstrip. Got to figure out where they went. No tracks on this road. There has been a very busy track here today. Heidi's saying something about hello Heidi, an observation she's made that over the last 2 nights. The night before last, both Arathusa and Djuma water holes were very noisy. Last night, not a sound. I think hard for me to comment because I wasn't here 2 nights ago, but 2 nights ago where I was, it was lovely clear skies. It was a rather crisp evening. Last night was a little bit warmer. It does have a role to play, as well as wind, other factors. So I'm not too sure what could have caused the stark difference in noises and things that Heidi's recording or mentioning. Should take better note of things. But I was quite a noisy environment the night before last. Human noise. You see, these ellies didn't come this way. Should go back to Zebra Drive. To continue my search, I'm going to have to get onto another road. Quite clear that these elephants didn't come onto this road. I can't just cut through the bush to the other road. I'm going to wait until I get another junction and come around from the other side. So in the meantime, lions sound like they're getting active. So we're going to cross back to Scott and I'll let you know.
Welcome back, everyone. And as you'll begin to notice, the pride is looking a little bit more lively, only a little bit, and not all of the members just yet. But it seems like it's that stage of the day again. And I hope they keep moving. It's often the case that they get up, move just a few meters, and then lie down. Which may be the case again, or they could continue to move and take us hunting with them. Little noises from the radio there. We've got a new radio system and we are still fine-tuning a few things about it. Now, it's probably about under an hour until sunset, but it's a little bit darker than normal now because of a large cloud that the sun is busy stuck behind. And this may give the lions a false sense of what time it is, which suits us. They'll hopefully get moving. The few that are beginning to move, as slowly as it may be, the whole afternoon. Did immediately head in that direction. Maybe it was through default. Maybe they are wanting to edge closer to the potential prey. The one on the left, as Veer moves across, will... it's also just lay down. But she was looking very intently in that direction. Some of the other members are now beginning to wake up. Just like we would go for a shower or wash our face and brush our teeth, they're going through their little routines now. And it is actually incredible how they keep themselves so clean considering the lifestyle that they lead. But I guess hours of grooming will keep you clean. And they do spend hours doing this. Often as they move through the bush, they'll stop and take time to groom themselves to keep hairs and grass seeds off their coats. Especially if they have ticks on their ears or in areas where they cannot nibble on themselves. The other members of the pride can help them out with that. So, even though they are showing remote signs of life, they're not quite ready yet, but at least the process has begun. And essentially the alarm's gone off, and now they've tapped the snooze button. How long they'll continue to tap the snooze button for is impossible to say, but stay tuned and you'll find out. Absolutely awesome shots coming through here, thanks Vian. And you'll notice in this shot that her back pad of her paw is three very distinctive lobes. I hope she lifts her paw up again. Oh, not quite. But she... or cats from hyenas and dogs. Hyenas and dogs will have 2 lobes on their back pad, whereas cats will have 3. And here we have a little bit of love and affection being shown. This is one of the adult lionesses within the pride, and oh, look at the heads all popping up now. They're beginning to respond more and more to the impala that have been rutting throughout the day. Not this youngster though. Well, we're going to do something a little bit different now. There's a really great sighting going on at the Djuma waterhole, and because Mark's all the way across in Arathusa, he can't get there in time, but we've got a live waterhole camera that runs 24 hours a day, and rather than you not seeing any of this or having to get you to cross over to the waterhole camera, in the next few moments and see what's going on there. There's a beautiful sighting, and we thought we should share it with you. done that since I've been here, but why not? It gave you a glimpse of what's going on about a mile from where we are here. It's a good chance these lion may end up at that same waterhole this evening. It is the closest waterhole to them. And interestingly enough, that was the same herd of elephants, it sounds like, that we saw this morning. Just 3 animals, but the oldest of the 3, probably the mother of the 2 calves, had a very distinctive trunk as she was missing the end prehensile fingertips. And thanks very much to the Zoomy, people remotely all around the world for different times of the day, so that every single hour there is somebody arming the camera and where it's pointing.